Hey folks. I'm trying out a new microphone. Hopefully this is going to sound better than my usual posts. Maybe you can tell already, maybe you can't. We'll have to see how this goes. I'm kind of hoping it cuts down on the wind noise out here. But again, you be the judge. Um, but I have been kind of reflecting today, uh, you know, as usual, I suppose, but um, something that was coming through this morning, and it's kind of been on my mind, I guess, throughout the day as well. Is there's a sense in which I've been feeling a. It's kind of like doing this work, doing inner work, and having a meditation practice, and really sticking consistently with something that keeps me mindful of what's happening in my life and in my awareness. I mean, I'm still very much working to integrate all of the insights from David Hawkins' Letting Go, which now it's been several weeks or even over a month since I was reading that book, I think. Um, but there's a sense in which when you come in contact with insights like that, like in the case of David Hawkins, just this idea that all of our experiences are being shaped by our emotions. Our emotions are actually producing our thoughts, and our thoughts are producing our reality. They're literally manifesting things in our reality. You take that seriously, and then there's a level. This is my experience of this work. Is that like there's a level on which you have the insight and and it kind of flashes through, or something happens, an event happens, an experience happens, and you feel it, and it's visceral, and it's immediate, and it's clear. And then time goes by, and it becomes it's like the way that things are in your life just kind of begins to it just continues. Basically, life goes on, I think is what I'm saying. And that insight sometimes can fade. And what I'm finding really interesting in this period of time that I'm in, and I think this has a lot to do with having really sort of uh, decided. It's been not quite, what is it, 7 or 8 months now. It's been a little, like the end of last year, when I really got clear, like this is like I'm gonna live my life and put my spiritual practice first. That's what I'm gonna do now. I It's obvious that that is the only way to live for me. Um, when having done that, and having been really consistent with that, meditating every day, and keeping these practices. I mean, they've definitely morphed. My practices have morphed a bit, and my consistency with how much time I spend on them has been flexible. I've been very quite consistent, but it's I've had to roll with the punches here and there, and like sometimes I've granted myself a little extra sleep in the morning instead of meditating for 2 hours, or whatever. But I'm on that track. I'm on that journey, and I'm still, I feel very much like that. It wasn't really a declaration, but that setting that intention, that's still very much where I am. That hasn't changed. And so when I have the kind of experience that I was talking about just a moment ago, of like insights that have felt crystal clear and perfectly like present, and then they drift, because I'm still in the context of a practice, that it's almost like there's a learning experience in that very experience of the insight drifting and then coming back and then drifting again. It's going in deeper, or it's like it's like layers of uh, insight accumulating and getting deeper and deeper. And that insight hasn't gone away. The one that was crystal clear from whenever, it's still there. It's like a layer in the archaeology of this experience, and now there are just successive layers on top of that. But knowing, but kind of staying with it, really staying in the game, and remaining consistently clear on that intention it's making the whole process easier. And it means that, like, because there's, I hit moments still around around money, around financial issues, and how that's going, how I feel like, how stable I feel like I am, how secure I feel about my future, my family's future, and there are all these ways in which um, that journey's not over for me. It's still a journey, and it's what's and I see myself kind of exhibiting patterns that I've exhibited in the past. I see that I'm not through with those patterns yet. I'm still. They're moving. They're changing. They're not the same as they were, but the patterns are still some of the patterns that I would consider, or that feel like negative patterns. Again, I know that ultimately in the kind of letting go world, nothing is negative. None of this is negative. It's all supporting me. It's all teaching me something. It's all evolving me. But when I perceive them, I might consider them to be like, oh, I wish I could stop doing this thing that I always do, or whatever. But just like that experience of feeling that, and the experience in this context, this larger context that I'm talking about, the experience of kind of successive waves of that, is almost like with every wave I get a little more confident. I get a little more confident, like, oh, I'm just in this part of the wave again. I'm going to get through to the next part of the wave, and then this part of the wave will be over. It's like I know that it's the consistency of the practice that really feels like it's the driver of, well, I don't know if it's I think it's the driver, but it's also the thing that allows me to build confidence and build a sense of, I know this works. I know that this is a process of growth. This is a process of evolution. And I'm gonna go through these moments of doubting everything, or, or whatever it is. And I think that's what I'm leaning into today. I'm as we settle back into our life here, we're back to kind of unpacking the house. I'm about to start kick my business into another gear, like kick that ball down the field a little bit. I have a couple of things I'm exploring there that I'm excited about. So yeah, on all these levels, I'm feeling like noticing that this consistency of engagement is really where it's at, and just being really relying on that, because showing up every day and being, even showing up for these posts has its own place in that process of like crystallizing an insight that's coming through every day, and creating meaning out of that, and creating something that I can take forward, and ideally something that is also beneficial and helpful to other people. And you, if whoever's listening to this right now has gotten 9 minutes into a video, and hopefully I'm offering something that gives you some insight too, and that gives you some energy and some inspiration. That's I think that's what's coming through loud and clear right now in my whole life as like the goal. Let's do things that are of benefit to a larger, to as many people as possible, and do that while remaining true to myself and giving myself what I need as well, and getting what I need as well, but making the intention something way beyond me getting what I need or what I want. And again, I think that the consistency of practice is it's the only way I can stay on track with that, because otherwise the ego, if I'm not tapping into this larger thing constantly and consistently, the ego will grab hold and be like, all right, I've got the wheel now. Let's go over here, you know. So, yeah, I think that's my insight for the day is just this gratitude for consistency and for the fact that practices have been evolved by previous human beings that can give me a platform and give me a sense of like how to ground into my own core and live life from my own center. What an amazing thing, you know. So that's where I am, people. Love you much. Appreciate you so deeply. Thank you for being in my life and for receiving these and for, you know, any way in which you engage with this work that I'm doing. It's super inspiring and I love you. See you soon.